you're down in the dumps, and it's the fight back. That song you'll hear forever, and you always think of them dun, 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 and running up the stairs, and I'm gonna win. And it's all about your mindset. And that's what these movies, they make you actually think, wow, how do they do that?
Welcome to Girls Gone Gritty. I'm Farley Boyle.
I'm Darian Boyle.
And I'm Jennifer Brenius.
Collectively, we're two sister-in-laws with our bestie.
We don't just talk, we do it. Day, night, mountain, beach, and city.
Get ready as we bring gratitude and attitude to everything we do.
We jump in head first, unafraid, and we're all in all the time.
We bring it on and get it on each week, diving deep into authentic, unscripted conversations
on just about everything. So,
let's get gritty.
Bring it on. Bring it on. Don't wait until tomorrow.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Girls Gone Gritty here at Bring It On Studios. This is another awesome Thursday. Such a fun time, ladies. You always make me smile. Hi, Jen. Far. I'm Darian, and it's pretty exciting. School is almost out for summer. It's right there. How about that, ladies? It went really fast, by the way.
That's the best feeling as a kid, when you know that you're on the countdown. I mean, it's not the greatest feeling for parents. Sometimes you're like, boy, here comes nonstop entertainment. But as a kid, there's nothing better.
We were listening to School's Out for Summer this morning, and I was running around, and Judy's like, Mom, I mean, can we just sing it every day for the next 10 days? We have less than a week of school left. So
I think Darian's more excited about school being out than Dee Dee. I think you actually might be.
She still loves summer as much.
I love summer. Well, it brings on. I mean, now the water's getting warmer. You don't have to wrestle the 5 mil wetsuit to go surf. And the waves are good. It's just a summer vibe. I like happy vibes.
Greece did such a good job when they like
Rydell.
Yeah, yes.
When they exploded out of Rydell right into like a fabulous like fair.
Yeah.
You know,
Senior fair.
That would be so fun. They should bring that fair back for like seniors, their last day of high school ever.
Well, let me tell you something. Point Road does it now. They have a new principal at Point Road School, which is where we raised all of our kids went. And they have all the blow up things. I mean, it is a party for moving up day. So it's a great time to take time to just slow down and appreciate all these momentous occasions. So to our listeners out there, enjoy it. It goes so fast. We can tell you how fast it goes, and every moment is a precious moment, and just try and soak it up and soak it in, because, you know, we'll be back to school before we know it.
No, don't say it. Then we're going skiing, and then it's around the hamster wheels. Before we kick off this really exciting episode, what do you have for us, Far, for the top 3?
Well, okay. Coming in at number 3, we have the 100th anniversary of the Goodyear blimp. That's on June the 3rd, and it was created in 1925. It's such an iconic site. What do you guys think about it?
Well, I loved going to Giant games because you always saw the Goodyear blimp hanging over the field. The problem is that they're too expensive to use. It can cost up to $100,000 for one trip. And that's because they use helium. So they started weaning them out, but they used them for the military, and they use them for luxury travel. And I still would love to go into a blimp.
The blimp is so iconic because you remember seeing it against every backdrop. We'll put on our YouTube channel. You see it behind, it's in Europe, it's behind the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And it's just something that for us growing up, always been there. And we were researching the story. It was the first aerial photo in 1955 at the Rose Bowl game. So they were innovators and pioneers and supported our military during World War I and World War II. So how cool is that? Goodyear and their logo and their tire brand, I think, was really cool.
I love Goodyear tires. I love them. So
rubber probably came in very handy in the war at some point. I mean, I can't imagine exactly every direction.
Yeah.
Barricades that you hide behind,
I love them.
All the rubber. Well, think about all the
swinging from a tire.
Yeah. So very cool. Okay. Cool. Coming in number 2, the sea continues to be giving treasures. And I do mean C as in the letter C.
Cocaine.
I mean, how many times have you guys picked up the headlines and seen that somebody's reeled in an amazing catch and it turns out to be a blowfish? Not even.
Well,
Blow.
a big blowfish. No, but it's cocaine and fentanyl has been detected in dolphins and all these mammals. That was the best movie ever. But it's scary because you know they're out there. Cocaine bear. Yep, I saw that and I was horrified. But
Florida family reeled in $625,000 worth of that was.
And it happens all the time. You know, those guys who lost them, they're probably have concrete boots at the bottom of the ocean. But when we would take a boat from Florida to the Bahamas, the police are out there. They're looking for it. That's what it is. You got to stop it. Sometimes it rolls on up. So make the call if you find a little snapper fish loaded with a little yay on your beach.
Yikes. And coming in on at number 1, big billionaire babies. I mean, how embarrassing are Trump and Musk fighting like just schoolboys? I'm going to take my ball home and leave the playground. What is this? This is embarrassing.
They both have their own social media platforms. So Trump has Truth Social and Musk obviously has X, the old Twitter. And it's just unbelievable how this banter back and forth is just accepted. I mean, these two billionaires, leaders of the free world, are acting worse than, but I would say, my 5-year-old. Farley's point, it's an embarrassment for our country. Like, get it together, man. Negotiate, have your squabbles. We all have our fights, have them behind closed doors, figure it out, and put on a game face for the country.
Just like you said, call him up. So, Elon, you have Trump's cell phone. Call him up, pick it up and say, hey, I have a problem. Stop. Don't go on X. Don't go on all these social media platforms.
And
hey,
actually rip him about
no
Epstein. I would never pick up his call after that.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that now you're digging. Now you're trying to get in there and see, okay, what can we do that's going to get everybody's attention? And Tesla, their stock was the lowest it's been today since 2023. So the question is to all the Tesla people that were driving, that were buying and then not buying and putting the big sticker, oh, I hate Elon, with a cross around it. Is everyone going to welcome Elon Musk now that he's not part of Trump's team? That's the big question. Hopefully they kiss and make up. Come on, boys.
Is he allowed to technically be in office?
So 130 days for his special position as a non-government employee. So they parted ways amicably.
Yeah.
And he was given a key to DC when they left with a black eye, which, that story is unraveling too a little bit. I guess his kid hit him with a tennis racket. Actually, it makes perfect sense if you look at the two ways that these people operate in business. Is they are disruptors, and they took this disruption model that they each have. Elon's mantra is quick, fast. The faster you do it, the more you cut and get rid of things. Doge, right? And Trump bought onto that, but Trump's model is the same. It's disruption. He throws and sees what's going to happen. And these two people threw a Molotov cocktail at one another. And we don't want to be held in the middle. And that's what the American people deserve better. So I really hope by the time that tomorrow comes, they figured it out. I hope they have a nice little
agenda he has. And it's called, what did they say? It's
big, beautiful
bill. But you could see Trump saying that big, beautiful bill. Just move on. Like, kiss and make up. You played in the sandbox, throw sand on each other's faces, and move on.
Just imagine if they actually really argued and had strife and they kept it behind closed doors. They wouldn't have aired out their dirty laundry all over the place. So now they're going to look ridiculous if they go skipping down the yellow brick road together as besties.
And their argument was so juvenile that you can't. It wasn't even an articulate argument. He's saying that he was part of the Epstein situation. Come on, that's unfair. Trump.
If it was really true, the Dems would have already slammed and proved. I want to see the list too, but I can't wait to see the list. I think there's too many people.
Obviously, everybody's on the list.
And if you air it out,
Dems don't want it out.
You'll be on the the bad list.
You'll be in the bottom with the drug dealer that lost the coke.
The drug dealers don't want it out. The movie stars don't want it out. Nobody wants this list out, obviously, because everybody else wants the list out and it's not coming out. So
wait for it.
So let's hope for a little bit of a peace and peace and make up, kiss and make up.
And then they'll make this all turn into a movie. And wait, hey, what are we talking about today? We're going to talk about really fun movies that are gritty, that are inspiring, because nowadays when you look at the movies that are out there, there's so much violence and just hatred. And then you have the zombie movies, but then you have the comedy movies that I love. Then you get that movie that really just hits your soul. You watch it, it's inspiring. You see that all of a sudden it's such a good story and it's a great outcome. And there's so many out there, and a lot of them are older, but I don't know, they're the ones that I feel that we will always remember. And let's just chat about like the coolest movies out there.
If you're traveling, since we've discussed traveling recently, and you get on a plane and you have the opportunity to pick from the smorgasbord of films and
say that 5 times,
viewing opportunities. I watched and I didn't even plan on this, but going down to see my dad this past weekend, I actually watched a movie called Unstoppable. It's life altering. It actually affected me so much that I posted about it on our site, if you saw that. And I also, not to, give it away yet, I saw Glory Road on the way back. So remember those 2 titles, because they're both nonfiction, true stories of grit, determination, and just overcoming obstacles to prevail. And I love this type of movie. It makes me feel good. I like to watch them with my kids, with my husband. These kinds of movies resonate with us. It's like The Miracles and We Are Marshall and King Richard. We're all going to talk about like what our favorite movies are, but that's the vibe that we're going for here.
And I think that like plugging into a movie when you're on a flight, you can focus and you're not distracted, and it makes the time pass so quickly. Love the old school idea of movies in the summertime, because the big blow up movie theater that we had, and we would get sleeping bags in the backyard and everybody would hang out. We'd pick a movie that would make everybody happy on some level, and doing it as a community is so important. Benefits of having a family night of movies and getting people off the small screen and having it be an event where you cozy up with your loved one.
Make some popcorn.
And
I love
make
popcorn.
it a fun little event so that your kids get excited for family night.
Because putting down the small screen, I'll just read a couple of the things that are listed that are benefits. So think about this when you choose to pick one of these movies we're going to talk about today. It's a family bonding experience. So you have a time to take pause and everybody puts their phones away and you watch something collectively, and a learning experience from all of you. And each of you are seeing it a different lens. Like John will pick a movie and all of a sudden he forgets points in the movie where we're both like, oh my God, this is so inappropriate, because when he was watching it as a 17-year-old boy, it was amazing. And now you're watching it with your 17-year-old boy and you're like, this isn't so amazing to be the dad. But it is a great opportunity to have conversations that you might not have. It's an opportunity for that. So it helps with their emotional development. It helps increase your memory. It helps your reasoning. It reduces stress. And it helps you relax, like getting on the couch, laying next to your mom or your dad, or sitting across from your sibling. You're taking this moment in.
Even eating a meal and watching. I'll let us bring our dinner into the TV room and we'll all have dinner. And that's how we start the movie, is like eating a meal while we're watching something together.
After you spent 20 minutes trying to find the movie.
Oh my God.
What is it? What are we going to say?
These movies, I mean, not really. Like Miracle is Chase Boyle's favorite movie on the planet. And we watch it every single year religiously. It's it's religion in our house. So it's great when a kid suggests something that they want to watch, that we all say, okay, yes, we're going to watch that. It's a family, tradition. But yes, the search for the movie of choice, you have to 3 out of 5 of us, 3 out of 4 of us have to be on the same page. It's a vote.
It's a vote.
And Miracle was the top of my list as well, because I was having dinner last night with my sister and all her kids and my mom. And let's talk about the most inspirational movies. And they're a huge hockey family, all my nieces and nephews. And they said Miracle. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. That was when in 1980, when you had the USA went against the Soviet team and they won. But it was you've seen it 1,000 times. It was such a movie of fighting. You had these college kids that are now going to go be part of the Olympic team, where now when they were in college, they were kind of not friends. Now you guys have to work together, and they're the underdogs. And anytime you get a movie or you get just that feeling of the underdogs that are going to win and they're going to take over, and it's the fight. And everyone was pulling for the Soviet Union. And we just started talking about the movie for our whole
day. And that's what we do in our house when we watch it. Like literally, it just makes you feel so.
I got goosebumps thinking about it.
Patriotically proud of who we are as a country and what we've achieved as, an Olympic team.
But also as athletes. We're all athletes. So here you are. How many times have you been the underdog? on a team.
That brings me to Unstoppable, because I'd never heard of this movie. And I was like, oh, what am I going to watch? And I didn't feel like The Notebook because I didn't want to cry. And sometimes I just watch the same movies that I know make me feel good. But I said, I'm going to go for Unstoppable. Unstoppable is about a boy named Anthony Robles, who was born without a leg. J-Lo is the mom. And I was like a little turned off with her. I was like, I don't know if I really feel like watching J-Lo, but she did a phenomenal job. He was born without a leg. It was a broken marriage. She got remarried to a man that didn't recognize Anthony as his child because he wasn't his biological child. And so this kid, was born with a handicap, wasn't recognized by the mother's second husband, and turned to wrestling and became an amazing wrestler with one leg and the craziest core that you've ever seen in your life. He went on to win states and be the guy from high school, and was trying to get picked up to play in college, but no one wanted to recruit him because of, Drexel. I will say Drexel did come in with like a full ride, but it wasn't going to work for his life at that moment. He ended up going to Arizona State as a walk-on, had to grind it out and really train with 40 or 50 kids and wait to see who was going to make the cut. And these guys were running up mountains as part of their training. And he would start the run early on his crutches and hobble and fall down on the rocks. And what I saw this guy do was mind blowing. And the way he won over his team was, after all these events, them running the bleachers and him hopping up the bleachers with one leg and using his hands against the bleachers to stabilize himself, running around the track with a weight. He's on his crutches. He has the weight tied to his crutch. He was never looking for the easy way out, and absolutely wanted to be equal with everybody else's abilities. And the most mind-blowing scene was when he finally made it up this mountain run. And his whole team was up there, and they saw him come up bloodied under his armpits. His hands were like a mess. And he didn't complain. He was like, I made it. And they all looked at him, and you could tell that at that moment, he went from the handicapped kind of like weirdo to, this guy is my hero. And then you start to see this bond with his team come to be, and the support system that he had from his coaches, and the determination that he had inside of him is like nothing I've ever seen before. This guy went on to make the team, only to have the team fold his sophomore year. They didn't have the funding. So they went out to the alumni. The alumni actually went ahead and funded, and then they had to make even more cuts. And he was the first person to be cut after making it and never having a season. What I will say is his senior year, he had an undefeated season, and he won the national championship as a freaking wrestler. Wow. I mean, he beat the #1 undefeated guy from Iowa, and he is a real human being. Look him up. If you want to believe that you can do anything and you put your mind to it, he is exactly who you need to look at, and he'll be your hero.
He should have been our grip maker.
Oh my God, he absolutely could be our grip maker.
Could be our grip maker.
I reached out to him. I said I was so impressed, and way to be like a role model for us all. And he responded, and I put that in our group chat. So we're going to see if we can potentially get him maybe to even come on as a speaker. Now, I know he has a $20,000 motivational speaker available for hire, but that's just one of the movies that I saw on the plane.
Oh, there's so many. I mean, you take it back to even when we were growing up. Rocky, you see Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, that is an inspirational movie. He gets just the life beat out of him, and you're down in the dirt, you're down in the dumps, and it's the fight back. That song you'll hear forever, and you always think of him dun, 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 and running up the stairs, and I'm gonna win. And it's all about your mindset. And that's what these movies, they make you actually think, wow, how do they do that? I want that.
Well, and the storytelling of the movie is really
my goodness.
It's like, to me, it's like reading a book collectively with your family. Of course, it's through the lens of the director and interpreted by the actors. But Rocky's really impressive because, on a little side note, if you watch Sly, you watch his biopic, that Rocky is the story of him and his move against the machine of Hollywood, because he couldn't get that movie made. And he was the one that decided he was going to star in it, and he was going to create this role for himself and put himself out there and created this legacy and dynasty that, like, if he's unstoppable and he's invincible.
No, but that's the ultimate underdog. That's the ultimate underdog tale.
Oh my God.
Even though I didn't love that movie, theoretically, I love the movie itself.
Think about periods of your life. I think of Chariots of Fire. And now when my kids like win the Tournament of Champions, I play that music as the bus is driving them back into our hometown to celebrate. There's milestones in life because of these movies. And if you don't know that people have gone through extreme hardship to get to the gold isn't worth it. It's really the way you get there, right? And
the journey
is what's even more impressive than the actual end game.
Well, and what I love, and you started to say this, and I was going to say it when you were talking about Rocky as well, is I love the soundtrack because it becomes the soundtrack of not only your time period, but your life. What is your soundtrack look like in the periods of your life? And I think that's so cool when you find a movie that your family loves and then you hear a song and it brings you back to the movie.
The champions. I mean, it's like monumental. I can think of all of my kids' big wins in that song. They would be embarrassed. I would pull up with my car and the bus would be, it was tradition in our town. If you won it all. The bus gets a tail of police cars and fire engines, and it's an epic thing. And I would have my windows down and I would have my tunes blazing and we are the champions. And it was like my thing. It's just the best.
How about the heartwarming tale of perseverance? And it's just in your soul is Forrest Gump, because my dad growing up, he had Perthes disease and he was told that he would never walk, he would never run. So my grandfather was a cop, Grandpa Boyle. They lived in Ridgewood. And every day he would take apart my dad's bed and he'd bring it down to the porch, put his bed together, and then he'd give my dad books to read. And that's why my dad was the smartest man that I knew on every topic across the board. He was an engineer. He was a developer. This happened for years. And I'm sorry, the disease is taking over. Well, one day he comes home with a medal and he had won the high jump. And it was a Forrest Gump moment as he ran and he did the jump. I mean, like, he's flying off and he won. And my dad raised cars so big and he couldn't bend his hip that he would duct tape his sock and take his shoe off and pull the seat out and sit on the floor.
Polio too?
No, never had polio. Pat says that. I'm like, no, it was Perthes disease. It's a degeneration of the.
And he had to be like in a wheelchair for like a long time.
That was the years. He was on crutches in a wheelchair. So they gave him a new hip, like hip replacement. They wired it old school, like wiring that it never really bent. He raced motorcycles. He raced sailboats, everything.
Every car seat that he ever had because he could not bend his knee or like he couldn't bend his leg.
He would lift and put a little marshmallow under there. But that is perseverance. And that's when I see Forrest Gump and these movies, it hits home and it reminds me of dad and family. Just you persevere through injuries and bad times, but it's also just, it's fun to watch. And I love seeing the underdogs always.
Well, one of the movies that I thought I love Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. There's another song, but he did the Invincible movie, which is a true story of the Philadelphia Eagle, who tried to make the team and he was knocked the other side of the tracks and missed his window of age. And everybody said he was too old. He was too this, he was too that. That's another amazing story of perseverance and grit and believing in yourself is really what having a movie that you can sit down afterwards and you learn something from and you feel better. I think to Darian's point, like I'm not a horror movie person. I don't like movies at the end that I don't feel better about. Even if they're challenge, I want to at least have something that is a takeaway that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to act that way or I'm going to act that way or I'm a better person because of it. And a lot of these movies that sports make you want to be better. Right. And that's why it's the common thread in so many movies that we all relate to, because it's a level playing field and it's what you put on the field that's going to make or break you. And what are you going to allow to break you?
What I love is 30 for 30 on ESPN. I mean, each one of those stories is just so heartfelt and the stories, and it's great. But I'm always like a comedy.
We did pitch 30. Well, yeah, for you.
Yeah, we pitched 30.
It was 30 for 30
podcasts in the very beginning.
We sure did.
Yeah.
And they liked your story very much. So that could still
be still might be calling us.
Yeah.
It could be.
Back to Glory Road, the second film that I saw on my way back from Florida. This was an amazing story. This was when Texas Western, it was a basketball team, and Texas Western had no money. They couldn't recruit, nothing. The coach that got hired had just won, I feel like, states as a girl coach. He was a high school girls coach. He was given the job. He wanted to become a D1 coach. he moved to Texas, and he started looking around and trying to figure out, how am I going to put a team that's worthy if there's no money to be given? So he had a very untraditional approach. And at that point in time, this was 1965, African Americans were not playing basketball. They were not regarded as athletes at that moment, which is insane to me. So he started scouring the countryside. He came to Manhattan. He went to Brooklyn and Harlem. He found some boys that were ridiculously talented. He started watching high school ball and found a very large elite group of athletes that were worthy. And he also had, the average white guy there too. So initially there was a little strife because those two worlds hadn't collided yet. And it was, it was an interesting dynamic to see how they were going to overcome the two skin colors and become a cohesive group. Well, let me tell you, did they become a cohesive group to the point where they didn't lose a game the whole entire season? And Kentucky was number one. Kentucky kept on winning like the national championship. And at one point, because the Kentucky coach was not respectful of the fact that there were African Americans on the team. You guys have to watch this movie. They would be on road trips traveling from game to game, and people would break into their hotel rooms and write in blood on the walls and write the N-word in blood on the walls and trash their belongings. Somebody got beaten up in a bathroom at a restaurant when he got up to just, use the restroom. It was terrible how much they were persecuted in 1965. Long and the short of it is the team and the coach. The coach decided to play all of his African-American players to start them against Kentucky in the national championship game. And every white boy on that team was all for it and couldn't wait. And it was the talk of the commentators and the news, and everybody was fixated on the fact, like, this crazy coach has all these African-Americans and he's starting them. And they went out, a no-name team, a no-name program, and they beat freaking Kentucky and won the national championship.
Oh my God.
That game, I mean, that movie was so amazing. Once again, it was called Glory Road, and it's definitely, if you're flying the friendly skies and you're on United, you can definitely watch United. I mean, you can watch Unstoppable and you can watch Glory Road right now.
Well, that's what it's so much fun, because we could just talk about movies and the feel-good movies forever and ever, but these go out and
two stories I didn't know about. Think about how many more there are out there that none of us know about. We know about Rudy, we know about We Are Marshall.
Yep.
Oh, right.
We know about all these fabulous.
So what we'll do is for those of you listening, we'll put out on our YouTube platform, we'll put out some of our recommendations and some other ones that we didn't mention today.
Blindside.
And also I want to point out a really cool little app that is called Plugged In that will give you suggestions of different movies. I'll put a link to that as well, that gives you different options that maybe we haven't thought of, because that's the great thing of finding a new lens, finding something that you didn't know of. And that's what we want you to do here on our show, is hopefully tune into something that you haven't heard of and haven't thought of, and watch a movie with your family, maybe rent a big blow up thing and get in your backyard this summer and just, get cozy and find a really great story to live your life by.
And always have feel good moments here. Who's our feel good Got Grit winner of the week?
Our Got Grit winner this week is Saji Valasseril, a humble furniture owner who, according to Better India, he's from India, was so heartbroken when a boat filled with teachers and students capsized and they all drowned. So he made it his mission to not only start teaching anybody that he loved how to swim, but the masses. He started having free swim programs all over India, and he was accredited to teaching at least 10,000 people how to swim. Now, coming from a former Chase for Life nonprofit, because my daughter survived an air drowning, this hit home for me, because people don't realize that drowning takes 2 seconds and can happen in a puddle of water, and it can be silent. And this man, for him to make it his life mission to teach people how to swim, my cheers to this guy. I love him.
I love this story. It's such a great story. And we'll again post this, and I want everybody to listen to it too. There's some really cool nuances of the story where one of his students went on and has a world record in India for traversing some body of water. There are so many not to have a terrible pun, but ripple effects that you can have in your life when you're somebody who has a cause and has a passion. Farley did it with Chase for Life. This amazing human is doing it by educating people on how to not drown and be able to swim. And it's a life tool that
And
everyone
he's
should
teaching
have.
them in a river, and he's using like some type of string to make different lanes. And if you're a beginner, then you're in the kindergarten lane. And if you, I feel like, are in a little bit more of a current and it's can't touch, and if it is, you know, a little weird, you've like made it.
Yeah. I
That.
love it.
Fabulous.
It's up.
Now, who is responsible for our fabulous song?
So this week's song is I'll let the words speak for themselves. Discover some new truth. Now is always wrapped around you, but don't let it slip away in the night. Don't just hurl your words from on high. Well, I know I had it on the line, but don't just sit the seat with hands and become blind. Because even when there is no star in sight, you'll always be my only guiding light. That's Guiding Light by Mumford and Sons.
Oh, this song.
It's a great song, and the lyrics are super powerful. That's why we bring this portion of the episode to you. We want you to tune in and
really
listen.
hard when you don't hear the music behind.
I
something
say that
you
every
listen
week.
to every time, because you think you know the lyrics, but you kind of don't. And then when you hear them read dry, just like she just did, they take on a whole new life.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and it's poetry.
It's like we almost need to read the lyrics before we hear the song, because we get so entranced with the
Sound. Yeah.
sound instead of the words, and
Yeah.
the words are powerful.
Words are powerful.
Mhm.
So your words are powerful. We hope that you were inspired today to take a conversation to your family about maybe the top 3, maybe watch a movie with your family, have a conversation about something that happened in the movie, but get conversational, get real, get gritty. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we are going to talk about some fun stuff again next week, right, girls?
We sure are. We are going to talk about our mantras and the mantras that you choose to live by. And if you don't have any mantras, we're going to suggest a few.
Love it. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Girls Gone Gritty. You get a great day. Peace out. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Girls Gone Gritty.
You can check us out on Instagram and Facebook.
If this episode hits home, share it with someone who needs to get gritty.
The 3 Gs. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.